having technical difficulties here for a second. Please be patient. Alrighty. Sorry about that, guys.
No, you did it on purpose. Go on, just admit
That's
you
okay.
like.
My computer decided to go. What are we doing this morning? So I wanted to say we are actually not connecting to all of the Facebooks, and for that I apologize. Most of them are going. Mine is the one who's not connecting, but we have had problems with Facebook here and there with certain things. So I did want to say this morning we are going to be doing the actual, as far as I'm concerned, the grounding Godfather movie of all of Ghibli Studios films, because this is the movie that made Hayao Miyazaki basically be able to create Ghibli Studios and move forward. And that is Nausicaä, Valley of the Winds.
Mm-hmm. This is the acorn from which that mighty oak grew.
That is correct.
I always say, and I know it's wrong, but I always say this is Miyazaki's first Ghibli film. I know I should, but for me, this is the genesis of Ghibli. This is where Ghibli come from.
And you were exactly right. It was because of this that Ghibli was able to actually be formed, and in this whole aspect of it, we actually see so much creativity and how much in-depth creativity and the way this man's mind was working. In a period of 5 years, he pulled out 4 immense movies that are known worldwide, from anything from Castle in the Sky to My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's. So, this is the founding father of it, even though prior to this, he had done Castle of Callisto, which kind of was the ground runner to some of the other movies that he kind of based off of it as well going forward.
Yeah, he also did an anime series and all, I think. About a little Viking, can't remember, was it?
Yes.
Something about Viking girl. He did that as well.
He had done so much previous and some other work so much previous to that.
But you realize that it wasn't only Miyazaki that worked double overtime to get Nausicaä made.
No.
It was also Toshihiro Suzuki,
correct,
who was anime's magazine artist. He'd been what did they call him? A writer of dirt and slush for some particular publishing house, and they decided to move him to this anime magazine, and he knew absolutely nothing about it, not a thing.
Wow.
And he fell over Miyazaki Senior, and they were discussing Nausicaä. And of course, he liked it. So he, on his own recognizance, made up a bundle to go around all these film studios to say, let's make this. And of course, back then, in the, shall we say, late 80s, early 90s, that's not how films were made.
Wow. Yeah.
But the only way they made an anime film was if film was based on what they called a popular manga of the time. Well, of course, they didn't have this for Nausicaä until he made one and put it in his magazine.
Well, speaking of mangas, do you realize that this was wholly created from a manga that Miyazaki had created and done a massive amount of artwork with, and it actually had to be cut down and redefined, and kind of different twists and turns had to be done from the book because the manga was so absolutely lengthy.
Yeah, and this Suzuki, that's where it was published. It was in his magazine. He pushed it, and then he went back out to the studios and said, "Look, hey, this thing's taking off. Let's make it." And of course, as we all know, it came out and it just took off.
Mm-hmm.
It's sold out on its first day. So, you know, from a guy that knew nothing about anime or manga or anything, he became one of Miyazaki's top producers.
Correct.
And also
No,
one of the co-founders of Ghibli.
exactly. But speaking of Miyazaki and that particular manga, there is so much more work that is in the book. It's very easy for it to go and do um, a part two. And I would
Oh,
love to
yeah.
see maybe him possibly. Okay, this was the movie that started Ghibli. It would be nice if maybe he went in, and we know how Miyazaki is with retiring, in and out and in and out. He loves something so much he cannot truly give it up. But it would be nice maybe to see him do that to kind of finish up his career of writing part two as kind of having bookends to it, I think.
Well, I don't know if you've heard or anything, but Miyazaki Senior is back in the studio
Yes, I know
making
he is.
making a film. We don't know which film, but he is
Right.
making a film.
Oh, yeah.
So we will wait. As you say, I do hope it is something along the lines of Nausicaa or Mononoke or Howl's Moving Castle or even Spirited Away. If it's something along those lines, I'm going to be all for it.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
So yeah, I think Miyazaki Senior um, is a man who is driven by passion, but also he has this fear of if he's not working, he'll be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as he's around and working, he won't be forgotten, and so he can push his narrative of you know anti-war, which when you look at this film, you question somewhat because it's one big bloody battle from start to finish.
True. But did you know that as much as Miyazaki did create the manga, this whole thing actually was inspired by an American cartoonist?
I did hear something of that, but
Yeah.
I wasn't
Richard
fully.
Richard Coburn in 1971, I believe, wrote the comic Rolf, and Nausicaa was derived from that. And as we already know, the name Nausicaa comes from the Greek epic The Odyssey. So it was just kind of strongly done with that. And then there was a lot of French comic influence as well to that.
Yeah. Um, it says here, I'm not trying to deride what you've just said because
No.
it backs it up. It says here that it was influenced by works ranging from Earthsea, Brian Aldiss' Hot House, Asimov's Nightfall, and believe it or not, Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. There's also parts of a possible inspiration from The Lady Who Loved Insects, which is a Japanese folktale.
That part is correct. Um, I'm not so sure. I'll be honest. I am not so sure about some of the others. And I have watched a lot of documentary regarding this from Miyazaki himself, but a lot of it has to do with the environmentalist aspect to it.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you go into the film itself, I mean, although it's a fictional world, as we all know, uh, parts of it is actually based on real locations around the planet.
oh, I can believe that.
I mean, the key locations that I've got listed here are as follows. The mountainous landscapes and lush valleys come from Pakistan.
Oh, okay.
Particular areas like the Hunza Valley are cited as inspirations for the stunning visuals and natural beauty. Another location, by the way, that Hunza Valley is the actual supposed to be the depiction of the Valley of the Wind, by the way. Other locations around the world is Turkey, specifically Eastern Turkey, the regions that reflect the geographical and cultural diversity. So you've got that, in parts of Syria.
You definitely do get that part of the feel of the world, parts of Syria, yes.
Now, here's the bit that caught me. Other locations, there's 2 more locations, one of them being Ukraine. Some interpretations suggest that the Dorok principalities in the film could be related to the areas between Kazakhstan and Ukraine, highlighting the film's connection to the various Central Asian landscapes.
Okay.
And the last real-life location which they give to the film, of all places, for its unique flora and fauna. Any ideas?
No.
Australia.
Oh. Yeah, that should actually be a gimme, come to think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With its diverse ecosystems, has been mentioned as potential inspiration for the film's environmental themes and depiction of the sea of corruption. I take it from that they mean the central part of Australia.
Yeah. Because not necessarily, I can see a lot of different parts of Australia now that you mentioned that, all throughout that, including even the plants and the trees overgrowth, the way it became, kind of reminds me of a lot of the islands that are off the coast of New Zealand in that area.
Yeah.
Well,
so those are just 4 areas that a lot of people have put down as real life locations pulled together to create the landscapes of Nausicaä. So if you want to go to the Valley of the Winds, looks like you're going to Pakistan to the Hunza Valley, because they reckon that is the real life inspiration for the Valley of the Wind.
very interesting. So.
Yeah, I would never have placed it in Pakistan myself, but having never been to the country and having never seen that particular part of the country, it's highly possible, I suppose.
Pakistan has some very beautiful spots to it as well. I mean, there's a lot of sandy areas, and more desolate areas, I would say, but it also has some very beautiful spots.
Yeah. And you know the little machine that Nausicaä flies around on?
Yes.
Have you ever seen it?
Well, I've seen several different things very similar to it. Which one are you referring to?
I'm referring to this one. This is the real life version of said machine. Right. This is a jet powered version which actually flew under power several yards. They made little gliders before they made this particular version, but that's what this is, the real life version. What do you think of that one?
Well, that's been in people's production in the back of their minds, at least here, in America, for many, many years, with different things, especially those of us that live here on the West Coast, with so many of the prevailing winds and different things, trying to get the gliders up and going out through that. So, yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, Miyazaki himself actually pulled the plug on the rest of the development of that particular machine, because he stated he didn't want to be responsible for any accidents or possible fatal accidents should the damn thing come down quicker than it went up, which I can fully understand.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really, if you look at it, there is nothing protecting the pilot. Not a damn thing.
Hmm. Well, think about the gliders that we've got now that are basically just attached aerodynamic, cloth wings,
Hmm.
and are allowing, to be able to, you can jump off the cliff and you can, you know, kind of sail to where you want to be, sometimes for a good couple of miles, depending on where the wind currents are taking you and the way
Well,
that you're riding those.
yeah, but if you think about it, those quote hang gliders that I think you're referring to, um, they're nothing more than an updated version to the original gliders that they were using way, way back before the Wright brothers to get things up in the air. There's a well-known
Sure.
German pilot, I can't remember his name, who actually died, and he flew his gliders by moving his body the same way that hang glider pilots do.
Hmm.
They pull the stick around. That's what he did.
Yeah.
So,
But one of the things that I think of as far as Miyazaki, right there we see throughout the film is his immense love of aeronautics.
oh
And
yeah,
he
yeah.
took that beauty in it, not only with the glider and how beautiful it was, but then he also pulled in aspects of some of the old World War II planes. And you can kind of see that kind of adjusted a little bit,
Hmm.
and even going back farther to some of the biplanes from World War I, just a little bit of that as well. So
Yeah.
he
But
took
did
all of
you
that love and,
carry on?
well, what I was saying is you can definitely see that throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. But did you notice again in this film, exploding clouds? I reckon Studio Ghibli has a thing for exploding clouds. They love it.
Probably.
Yeah. Also, what I did like is at the beginning of the film, you have when the credits are rolling at the beginning of the film, you have this tapestry on the tree.
Yes.
Did that
If
remind you
you
of anything?
Well, it reminds me of several different things that have been used in movies since.
Exactly, but to me, it had an Aztec quote Mayan
I was thinking not so much
phrase to
Aztec
it.
Mayan, but more Egyptian, what you can kind of follow. But yes.
Yeah, and also you had what I would also call a Bayou tapestry
Hmm.
connection to, and that for me, when you see that, you think, wow, cool.
Well, it's kind of funny because you mentioned that, but I think one of the more prominent movies or television shows today that have definitely used that interwoven tapestry to play out what's going on throughout their history or what is to come would be House of the Dragons or Game of Thrones. And you see that beautiful tapestry and that in work.
Hmm.
And, you know, this was, like you said, kind of with the Tolkien and different other things. It does kind of have that little bit of a feel with certain things.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, if something works, go with it. And
Oh,
for this
definitely.
film, I mean, it goes with it. I mean, a lot of people would say this film hasn't aged well. I would say this film has aged
And
extremely well.
yes,
Um, you compare this film to the film we reviewed 2 weeks ago. Seriously, look at the animation from Earthsea, and then look at the animation from this film.
yes.
I
And
mean,
this
this
film was
film is,
40 years ago.
yeah, I mean, this film, the animation, the graphics, backgrounds, it knocks Earthsea out of the park.
It does knock Earthsea out of the park with so many things. And you had just said, like with the animation and other things, if you specifically look at the faces,
Yeah,
especially Nausicaa's face, you can see every single expression that she has, including what she's thinking in her mind. You're just not seeing her looking at something, but you're seeing her look through something. She's sitting there at the windmill, in her little seat at the windmill, and she's looking out the window, but she's seeing so much more broader than what you think that she's actually seeing.
Yeah, well, there you go. There is a picture. Look at the picture that you've got on the screen, that I've got on the screen now. Look at the expression on that face. Look at how the clothes, the figures, the background, it stands out. Now, if that was Earthsea, that would be as flat as a pancake.
True. And one thing that truly impressed me, besides the expressions and everything, like I said, you can even see, the expressions in her eyes tear up with certain things.
Mm.
Um, and when the Tolkien ship crashes, and she tries to rescue the princess and she starts to do, CPR, whatever, open up her tunic to see that she sees that there's no way she can be saved and just kind of buttons her back up. You can see that expression on her face.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also in the same token, which I have always found to be the number one thing I feel with Miyazaki's artwork, is everything that you're looking at, you forget you're looking at a quote unquote, and I still hate to say this to this day, cartoon. It is not a cartoon. It is a in-depth movie, and you are watching it almost as if you would be watching an actual, movie production. Because if you watch her flying through on her glider, you can see her earrings. Even her earrings are being pulled back by the wind and the waves.
Oh, yeah.
If you just were looking at a more broader based, you know, artwork, it would just be kind of just dangling there. She might have a little bit of hair or whatever blowing, but you're not going to see, the earrings dangling or certain ruffles to her tunic top or things like that.
You think about, there was a bit of it where she runs to take off with that glider. It starts off with the glider above her head, and then
Mm-hmm.
she literally somersaults from underneath that glider up and over. And all those movements are captured. You can see her straining to get up and over to get back on that glider.
Yeah,
The clothes that she's wearing, the air pressure pushes them to show her basically her outline as she comes up and over.
exactly.
So, unlike our film 2 weeks ago, for me, you never got any of that. Even when they were riding around on the horses or jumping up and down, and
No.
it just sat there flat.
Yeah.
And the figures, as you say, there was no
But
reaction on
right,
the figures.
but right there, you can see the artistry of the master and the artistry of someone who still needs to learn a lot.
Well,
And
yeah,
it was
but then
little.
again, as Miyazaki Senior said, he doesn't know how to draw.
No, he doesn't.
Goro does not know how to draw, so Goro did not contribute towards the animation of the film, which
And
is
we're
why I
talking about
think,
Earthsea, not this
yeah,
one, just so we know.
Earthsea. Yeah, we were talking about Earthsea. Goro did not contribute, I believe, to the animation of Earthsea. Therefore, the animators of Earthsea didn't really decide to try and work.
No, they didn't. It was kind of like, okay, we're here, let's just phone it in and get it done with, even
Yeah,
though they had much more pride in their work.
yeah, well, exactly. They thought, well, it's not Miyazaki Senior, so we don't have to worry too much because he's not going to chase us. And
And
Goro
here's the
obviously
thing,
did.
you're working under Ghibli Studios. That whole aspect in itself, you should be upholding to that standard and that artwork.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, before Ghibli started, when you wanted to do a film such as NAUSICAA here, you had to go and hire in your artists.
Hmm.
You didn't have a reserve. That's how it worked. When we say, oh, Studio Kyoani, Kyoto Animation or A1 Studios, these people before the early 90s would hire in people and they would be paid per picture.
Yeah.
Peanuts, basically. And it was people like Miyazaki Senior and Kyoto Animation that sat there and thought, this this isn't right. This isn't working. We need to rearrange things. And so they did. Miyazaki built Ghibli around a team of animators that he hired,
Correct.
not by the bloody picture. They were paid a salary,
They're
and
paid for their work.
he made their studio a place to enjoy. Kyoto
Enjoy,
Animation.
yeah, enjoy. And you had said that you think maybe he keeps coming back to work because he's scared that one day he will be forgotten if he's not constantly,
Yeah,
there and doing the work. But here's the thing, his work is going to be living on for generations to come because it is such an absolute perfection art form that
yeah,
will be very hard to master in the future.
yeah. I think Miyazaki labors under the Japanese um, adage of those that do not work do not eat.
Correct.
I think
And
that's he's of that generation. You don't
yeah,
work, you don't eat.
no need. And I wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Roger D. Noriega for giving us a like. Thank you, Roger.
Oh, morning, Rog, if you're around.
So,
Yeah, so, it the film itself. I mean, it's what again. You see, Miyazaki Senior has this wonderful knack. I don't know if you realize this. He has this knack. You sit down to watch this film, and you get that engrossed in it. Suddenly, the end credits are coming up, and you're thinking, "Hey, what?
hmm
Hey, it's
and
been that long?"
what's really funny getting into like the whole gist of the movie. It is basically a post-apocalyptic movie
Yeah.
that is 1,000 years after a great war, and we see the destruction and everything that had gone through mankind and gone through the earth. Well, this was
Mm,
also put out in 1984, and at the same time, there were several other post-apocalyptic movies that were coming out at that same time. There was the Star Wars trilogies that had already come out, but
mm,
there was also Dune that had come out the same year of 84.
yeah.
And there are some similarities to that as well. But then we also look, and if you're looking through, different scenes within Nausicaa, you will almost see a bit of a Mad Max, aspect to it as well.
Well, see, I wrote down here that when you look at the film, who are the bad guys?
I don't think
Who
there
is?
are any bad guys.
And yeah, exactly. Everybody's doing what they think is the right thing at that time.
Correct.
So who is the bad guys? I mean, the story I take away from this is the tapestry says it was a guy that would lead the valley back to,
Yeah.
but it ended up as Nausicaä. But I think the story is that the humans on the earth had to learn to live with
Live.
nature, not rule over it.
That is correct. And that's one of the big things that in 1984, there was the Worldwide Fund for Nature, and that Nausicaa was one of the primary movies that was shown because of the way that Miyazaki had kind of explained this in the movie, that we had to wind up working with nature, because as we see with this huge toxic jungle and everything, that it is killing everything, even the Valley of the Winds, even though it's the wind is keeping the poisonous toxins and the poisonous spores away from the valley. To some degree, they are still, farmers and other people are still venturing around the jungle and around the toxins, and are still falling sick, like her father the king had, like some of her friends had. So we're
Yeah,
still seeing that.
yeah.
You
But
know,
as you also notice that the water and the air beneath the jungle is fresh and pure, as
this,
Nausicaa had discovered
yep,
in her little cave underneath the valley.
yes. Well, that's what she was just trying to work through and discover, because she was trying to come up with a cure for her father.
Yeah,
You know, and to be that brave and to go out into the jungle as a young girl. To do that was extremely adventurous, but I think she was so much more advanced beyond her years
Oh,
for
well, you see,
multiple different things.
yeah, this is a thing that a lot of people don't realize about Miyazaki Senior. He's actually a feminist. He
I
actually
don't know.
goes, yeah, he actually, if you think about it, think about most of his heroines in most of his films. What are they? The females.
I
I
almost
mean,
wonder.
you've got Kiki, female. Princess
I
Mononoke, female. Chihiro, female.
True, and I almost think if that doesn't stem from his mother.
Possibly. But he has always been a believer in strong female lead characters.
Yes.
He always has. Which, when you think about it, for a Japanese man, it's kind of weird because the Japanese always come over as this male oriented
Mm-hmm.
people, their whole
The
society
woman is
revolves
subservient
around,
to the male. Yeah.
yeah. Whereas here's this guy with this wonderful talent, and he's pushing the female line and saying, "Oh, no, 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 no! Leave the guys there. Let them get on doing what they're doing. Look at what the women are doing. Here's what the girls can do," which I find cool. It's like when Nausica's running through the jungle, and she jumps the tree and steps on the insect on the other side.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, come in the side, and off she goes. She said, "Well, could you imagine them doing that in Starship Troopers?"
Yeah. We're like, ooh, it's on my shoe.
I mean, I can't even see them coming outside of anything in Starship Troopers that they get up to in Nausicaa.
True. But I mean, there is just it's so much stuff, and like you said, it is purified underneath. But Nausicaa herself almost seems like because as we see going back through different things, you go back to the very beginning of 1,000 years prior, and you almost see these visions of a very young Princess Nausicaa before the world was destroyed, and her love of the creatures and trying to protect a baby Ohm. And that
Mm,
baby Ohm was a very baby Ohm. It was not the baby Ohms that we're seeing, in Nausicaa current, you know. And even then, they were trying to get rid of those creatures because it was like, no, it's an insect. We need to get rid of it. We don't know what it's going to do. But yet, in the same token, looking forward, it can be so blind with rage driven because you have heard it and you've lashed out. And if you have ever been severely hurt or your children have been hurt, you know you're going to lash out in blind rage and hatred. But
mm,
if something is kind to you, you're going to reciprocate that back and be kind as well and
yeah.
learn to work with things.
I mean, what gets me is the 2005 Disney version has Patrick Stewart in it, of all things.
There's a what in it?
Patrick Stewart
Yes, it
is,
does. And I was going to make that correlation is because Dune, like I said, came out in '84, and Patrick Stewart was in Dune, so I thought it
yeah,
was almost appropriate to have him voice, in the American version of this. You know,
exactly. Also, Mark Hamill
Mark Hamill was in it as well.
is in it as well.
Yes.
But
You know, there
what I can never understand is in the English version, Nausicaa has a different name. She's
there was
called
always
Princess Zandra.
I've never heard that, and I have
Yeah,
seen the English version many times.
yeah. English Manson dub, it's Princess Zandra, which I find weird. The same as Belle is Princess Milo. It's Prince Milo.
I have always heard it be Asbel and Nausicaa,
Yeah.
always,
You see,
in
I've
both
not
the
come across
Japanese
this.
and English versions.
Yeah, I've not come across this English Manson dub at all.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I mean, the names, I mean, as I said, Kushana is Queen Selena.
Yes.
Katoa is General Rogan. Milo becomes Axel. I mean, talk about take it. I mean, the old girl that she has me in kinks, that one. Obaba.
Oh, I love her. She
Yeah.
reminds me of you, actually.
Really? You're gonna
Yes.
go? You're gonna go there?
I'm gonna go there, girl.
Oh, okay. That's it. We're finished. Time out. Go.
Okay.
I've had it. I'm
Fine.
out of here.
We're at war. We're at war.
Yep. That's it now.
I'll go get the beating heart and see if I can grow another embryo of a giant.
She can try, girl. But
You have a
yeah,
thing melted.
I mean, it's fantastic that
You know,
you
actually,
some of
well,
the people that are in the Disney version. Uma
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 Thurman.
Thurman,
Yeah.
yeah, she's in there. I mean, these are people that I would not normally associate doing voice acting.
You would be surprised. You know, and especially at this time frame because the Disney version came out in what 2005.
2005, the Disney version
Yeah,
came out. Yeah,
which was a good 21 years later.
yeah, and I mean this Manson Showman version actually
Hmm.
came out in 1985.
Yeah, and I believe what Shia LaBeouf was a Bell, wasn't he?
Who?
Shia LaBeouf, wasn't he Abel?
Who do Milo, Asbel, and Lasseter's mother, Jodie Benson. No, I don't appear to have him on here. Oh, hang on. My mistake. Yes, you are correct. Shia LaBeouf is Asbel. Yes, she is.
That's what I thought.
Yes, she is. Whereas in this Manson Showman version, it's somebody called Cam Clark.
Hmm. It really makes me wonder what version of that is because I have never heard of it, and I wonder how widely it was released.
I mean, I've never heard of it. I mean, apparently, as you say, this came out in '84, and this Manson stroke Showman version came out in '85. So it only came out a year after the actual film was released, unless it's for our friends in Japan Airlines again. But I've not found that listed anywhere that it was done for that. So,
Maybe at some point somebody was trying to break because this was the 80s, don't forget, and everything anime was starting to get to be really popular. Not to say that it wasn't popular in the 70s, but this was even kind of more expounding on it.
yeah.
You know, and speaking of that, that's the one thing that actually I liked and I didn't like regarding this is it did have such an 80s feel with almost techno music. It wasn't the beautiful, huge incorporated orchestrated pieces. It was, up and down, but then again, you almost got that feeling of the excitement and the climatic build with certain things, like during the fight scenes and things like that. But in other times, it was almost like I said, almost a techno type music. But I will say one thing with the sound systems and things. When she first is in the forest and she finds the old ohm shell and she tries to run her sword into it, you can hear a beautiful crystal clear sound. And that was probably one of the best audios that I heard.
Mm-hmm. But then again, you see, unlike Earthsea, this film doesn't rely on its soundtrack. For me, this film, the animation, the voice acting stands up on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Earthsea, not so much. What did I take away from Earthsea? I took away the soundtrack. As I said 2 weeks ago, take away the animation and the graphics of Earthsea and just sit and listen to that soundtrack. You would swear it was the Swords and Sandals from the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Whereas this, no way. You're too busy watching what the graphics and the animation's doing that the soundtrack just adds that little bit more. But it doesn't, unlike Earthsea, it doesn't overpower it. Because,
exactly.
you know, here, the animation, the backgrounds stand out. They capture you. Whereas in Earthsea, they don't. So you are listening to the soundtrack. You are listening to the music because you think what's on the screen is, really, you know, it doesn't happen.
True. You know, and going back to certain things of what we liked and what we didn't like. I was going to ask you this earlier. You kind of said that you really got a kick out of the old lady, but was she your favorite character?
Was she my favorite character? Yeah, I suppose in lots of ways, she is my favorite character simply because of the things that she has no fear. That the old girl, she has no fear. She can't see. She relies on other people. But as soon as you tell her what's going on, she'll let you know what's happening. And she shows no fear. And that, for me, I think, you know, I think for somebody that's lived that long, good show.
You're going to laugh when I tell you what I think my favorite character is. And
That
it's not
squirrel.
Huh?
The bloody squirrel that she gets from the...
Oh, I love that. But no, that's not my favorite character. And I say favorite character, and I'm only saying this not because they're either a good person or a bad person, but because I absolutely freaking love their sarcasm. And that is the princess's general. Because you know he has higher ambitions. And the second you think she's gone, he's trying to take over. And she comes back, and one of his lines was, well, that didn't last long.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, there's just something about the way that the facial expressions are, the way he's drawn to carry himself. It just, you're immediately drawn to this character, love, hate, whatever, but he makes you laugh. He really does.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, when they first invade, he makes some classic lines about, yeah, what do we do now? They've got our tank, you know, they've stolen our tank. So she says, we'll get the other ones out, you know.
Yeah.
Just, is this a good idea? Yeah. The princess has been captured. Really?
Really?
My chance has come, you know.
Yeah.
I think he actually says that, doesn't he, at one stage?
He does.
You know, she's not there. You think, well, my time has come. This is either going to work well or crash and burn sort of thing, you know.
Yeah. And then when she shows back up, he's like, that didn't last long.
Yeah, you see, that's the sort of thing that reminds me of you.
Oh,
the sort of thing you do.
I do not do that.
Yes, you do. You and Roger have that relationship. I'm not saying which one is the princess, but hey, you know.
Well, we all know who's the princess in that. Trust me.
Oh yeah. Now we know who the princess in that one is, and it ain't you.
I did not say that, Roger. If you're listening, I am not the one who said that.
I don't care. I don't care at all. I'm just, you know, I must be honest and say, I sat down when I rewatched this film. I sat down and I thought, oh, well, let's get started. Because of the age of the film, I was not overly enjoyed about it. I thought, I'm not going to enjoy this because of the age. But as soon as it started,
before.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah. when I sat down and, as I said, when it first started, I thought I'm not going to enjoy this because it's old animation. It's from the 90s, and I've got some of these series here from the 90s, and the animation doesn't exactly reel you in.
It's right from
But
the 80s,
within,
girl.
yeah, but when it, within what, 2-3 minutes of the film started, when that tapestry is going across and you see all the little bits,
Mm-hmm.
I was there. I was hooked.
Oh, definitely.
And at the end of it, I sat, I made that comment in my notes. I sat and I thought, think of when Earthsea came out. Think about when this came out. Look at the difference in animation. Look how much life there is in Nausicaä and how much of lifelessness is in Earthsea.
True. But like I said, in a way, I'm sorry, but they cannot be compared because one was the master of all, which was done by Nausicaa, which was done by Miyazaki Sr.
Yeah.
Earthsea was done by Junior and does not have the skills that his father does.
No. Well, he has one skill. I will give Goro Miyazaki one skill, and that skill is he can do a bloody good soundtrack. When it comes to a
I will
musical
agree.
soundtrack,
Yes,
he seems to have a golden touch.
I agree. And it would be very good if they worked together,
Oh, could
to
you
put those.
imagine? Could you imagine
Oh,
if you had Miyazaki doing the animation and the story, and Goro doing the music?
yes.
It would just mind blown.
But I am not so sure that Miyazaki Sr. would be willing to even give up that much control on his project.
Well, I think Miyazaki Senior is more animated or animation orientated
Yes.
than musical orientated. I think when it comes to the music, he will give directions, but he's because that's not his forte, shall we say. He is willing to step back and take advice.
Okay.
Whereas Goro, when it comes to the animation, he just plows on and says, "Yeah, all right, that'll do," and carries on. But the music side of it, he knows what he's doing, and he's proven that
Oh, yes.
several times. So I think, yes, given the chance, providing Miyazaki Senior was prepared to let him into the studio at the same time as he's already there, yes, I think the two of them, if they did collaborate in that fashion with Senior doing animation, the backgrounds, the story, Junior music,
Yeah.
and everything else, it would work.
I
It
think it
would,
would be absolutely phenomenal.
yeah. I mean,
Phenomenal.
you take a story like Spirited Away
Ooh.
or similar to it, and then just give Goro the music, Senior the animation, and I'll tell you what, they would certainly lift another Oscar
Oh, yes, definitely.
instantly. Instantly. I mean, it it, it is something that I wonder what he's getting up to now, Miyazaki Senior, because it's come several days now in succession that he is back in the studio.
True. I've heard it come down the pike now for, oh, maybe the last 3 months or so.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
and he's not the only one that's back in the studio. The the animator of Your Name and
Hmm.
Suzume, he's back doing another film now as well. He's got that on the go.
Which is good because I know so many studios in our were destroyed, during the tsunami as far as, different things and everything just were completely wiped out and had to kind of rebuild from the ground up.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see them back in full production again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, although it wasn't the tsunami that did the damage for Kyoani, I mean, Kyoani is slowly but surely regaining its position that it had before the fire. And, the 38 unfortunate souls that passed.
Fascinating, yeah, which were so talented.
Yeah, I mean, the one series that I can think of, which I think suffered really badly with when Kyoani had its problems, was Miss Kobayashi's Dragon. Series, I believe series two, the end of series two copped it, and I believe we completely lost series three because of it. So everything's slowly building up, providing, of course, that certain Western nations back off and leave the Japanese to do anime the way they've always done it and stop trying to teach them how to suck eggs.
Yes. In one of our other programs, I have interviewed a lot of different actors and voice actors and different things, including one who spent 12 years in Japan, working with all sorts of things, including one of the things that he feels that he would love to do is do a lot of the animation and the voice animation, not only because he can speak fluent Japanese and he knows the inflex and what needs to be shown coming through that a lot of Western actors don't get, but then he
No,
can also reverse it as well and do it, in English. But that was one of the things that we were talking about is that he doesn't really see where a lot of people take that artwork at face value. It's just like, okay, it's animation. It's, doing
it's a damn
whatever.
cartoon. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
you people turn around and say, "Oh, Studio Ghibli is Japan's version of Disney." No, no, it's not. It
mm-mm.
never has been. Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, all those studios, they all have their own individual way of doing things. So does Ghibli. Their product may look similar, but their processes and the stories that are coming out of those studios are different,
I,
especially Ghibli.
I,
You,
I,
you,
yeah, I would hate to say this, but I honestly feel that things like you said, like from DreamWorks and from Disney, and I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for saying this, but are more flashy. They're more in your face, and I'm sorry, they are much more American and westernized. They're
oh,
there, but
yeah,
you take a look at a Japanese animation, especially a Miyazaki animation, and you're looking at layered culture, layered history. Everything is so interwoven. It is a part of the Japanese culture itself, inviting you into this gorgeous world, and you can just sit there and just relax and be at peace and almost at zen per se and
I
watch
think,
it and have a great time.
I think the closest I ever saw a Disney film, shall we say, attempt um, a Japanese cultural device was Big Hero 6. I
Mm,
mean, that's the only thing that I've ever, I mean, storyline wise, no, I don't think, I can't think of a Disney film or a DreamWorks film that could stand alongside Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away. I can't think of any direct correlation with any other film. I mean, even, what is it, Abominable, I can't see that standing up next to him, even though that is based all around that particular area as well.
I'm not putting down, Pixar, and I'm not putting down Disney. They
Oh
have
no, I'm
their
not.
own movies that are beautiful that we have all grown up with that are
Yeah,
beautiful artwork, starting
yeah,
with Snow White and Bambi and other things. And at that time, it was gorgeous. But then you
yeah.
take that and you compare it side by side with a Ghibli movie, they are two different worlds.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I mean, the How to Train Your Dragon series, that a lot of the actions, if you watch those particular films and watch the series that came in between the films, a lot of the actions that those characters do are based in anime.
Yeah.
I mean, be honest, how many times have you seen an American, you're saying something to an American or a Brit, and they go, what, me? And they actually point to themselves. They don't. We don't do that.
Yeah.
The Japanese will do that, but we don't do that. But if you watch How to Train Your Dragon, and I believe one or two other Disney films now, you watch them, that characteristic, that Asian characteristic of pointing at yourself is creeping in. So they are taking things from anime and incorporating it. But for instance, when a person leaves the house in an anime, you will see them put their shoes on and then tap their toes to get the shoes to sit right before they leave. You don't get that in an American film or in a Western film. They might throw their coat on, but they've got the shoes on and they're out and gone. You don't see any ritual before they leave. You don't see a ritual when they come back in. Whereas in a Japanese film, you do. Take your coat off, take your shoes off, put the slippers on, go indoors. I'm here. We don't do that.
Yeah,
And I think that's,
it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because I do have family that does do that.
yeah,
Um, my brother-in-law's brother is married to a Chinese girl, and she was born in on mainland China, but that is their whole culture. You take everything off at the door,
yeah,
and then you put on your slippers and the whole bit.
yeah,
So our whole family has kind of become accustomed to that.
yeah. But I mean, in general, we don't have that sort of culture. So when you see a Studio Ghibli film or an anime series and you see these rituals, enjoy them because that's part of the charm of these films. They are taking you and showing you a little bit of Japan. They are showing you a little bit of themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, the Japanese, I've always found that the Japanese are they're reticent when it comes to opening up and being, upfront about what they watch anime films, watch anime series. You will see little bits in there that you will never pick up, even if you visit the country and you manage to, shall we say, get a Japanese friend that trusts you enough to take you into their home. You won't see any of this. You will just see what they want you to see. But the anime films, Ghibli and all the other films and all these series that are here, they show you little bits of Japan that is the charm.
Yeah.
That's what draws you in with these things. I suppose that's part of the reason why I like it quite so much. It's different to what goes on around me 24/7.
Well, no, I can definitely see and appreciate that. It's kind of an escapism for you, and I suppose in a way for a lot of people that don't have the ability to travel and to see other cultures. So
I mean, I've been lucky. As I say, I was lucky. I managed to go all over Europe, um, both as a child and as a soldier. But as a child, I managed to go to the Far East. I saw Hong Kong.
right,
So I saw the Chinese culture. I saw the difference. And to see that and to experience that, it's something you will never forget. And it opens you up. Well, it did for me. It opens me up. I don't look at another culture and think, huh, my place is better than that. Because,
yeah,
no, it's not. It's not. Yeah, I've got a few things in my culture which I think are great. But there's a lot in my culture which I do not appreciate. Believe you me. likewise, the Chinese and Japanese cultures. There's bits in there that I think, only if we did that, we'd be a better people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with everything that they do, believe you me. No, there are things that I will question. I mean, the Kohai Senpai, which I
Oh
brought
yeah.
up before, that I would question, because just because somebody's been there 20 years and they turn around and you've been there 15 years and they say, you will do this. And just because he's your senpai, you got it. No. Now, if he's wrong, I'm one of these people who will stand up and say, sorry, pal. No. Their culture is you don't do that.
But even here, there is some truth to that culture that is not just, the Japanese culture. You know, I was always raised that someone who had been there or doing the job longer probably does have more experience and you can learn from them. It
Yeah.
took me a while to understand there were certain things that I actually could teach the older person.
Mm.
And that I found within my job was one of the hardest things to kind of overcome because when I went into the nursing field, I was still fairly young, and I was dealing with a lot of these nurses that had come out, that had already been in it for 40 years.
Yeah.
And there were things that's like I was showing them, and they're like, "Well, how did you figure out how to do that? We never knew." And it's
Yeah.
like it's simple to do, but then there was other things that they were teaching me so much of a wealth of. So I think everybody needs to work together with what they're learning, whether they are the elder or whether you're the younger.
Yeah. I think, I suppose in lots of ways, it's like when you're in the army, you're taught to obey orders.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're also taught to question those orders if you think those orders are wrong.
Correct.
It's finding the kahunas to stand up and say, excuse me, I don't think we should be doing this. It's finding your feet to come forward and question the senior, even you do the junior. Should we actually be doing
Yeah.
this? Oh, hang on, I got problem.
Uh-oh. Sounded like she was being invaded by an alien. What was it?
Now I got
A
somebody with a
Japanese?
drone.
Uh, a drone or a drill? They're invading her. It
It's
must
a
be the
drill.
yeah. It's the gigantic insects that are trying to drill, and you have gigantic woodpeckers.
I wish I knew. I'd cheerfully go out and kick their butt. It's been going on and off all day.
Wow. Normally, it's me having either one of the lawn crews come around because we have several homes here on the street that have lawn crews that come in, especially on a Saturday. And I wanted to scream yesterday. It was so loud. They were doing my next door neighbors. And
Mm,
I was literally having to shout to my husband to get heard because we were in the back
yeah,
room. And I'm like, I can't hear what you're saying. I don't think he can hear what I was saying.
probably. Yeah. I mean, I was, to be perfectly honest, before I came on air, I was actually sitting watching an anime series.
No, what were we watching?
I was watching Toradora. It's an anime series about a very tall, um, angry looking, Japanese boy, high school boy. He's 17 years of age. He has one of these faces, what they call a gangster face.
Yeah.
So a lot of people avoid him. He's not a gangster type. He's not a delinquent. He's just a normal kid. He's just got this face that looks like he's about to rip your head off. Um, and the female protagonist is actually a little short girl, and she's called Tiger. So they nicknamed her the Palm Tiger because she's so small.
No, yeah.
But she's extremely feisty. When I say feisty, I mean
Yeah. Well,
you upset her.
us little girls are.
Yeah, she will. I mean, she's 17 years of age, but she looks about bloody 8 or 9.
Yeah. It's
It's
like my
actually,
daughter.
yeah, it's one of the comments that are made by another character during the during the series when she goes for her to buy a swimsuit. She says, "I'll go in the kids department. You'll probably find one in there that'll fit you."
Yeah.
And she just goes, "Poof." It's a good series, but maybe one day we'll get round to covering a series and we'll discuss Toradora, because it's a very good series.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was, believe it or not, it's not one that I actually knew. It was suggested to me. I was at the time watching another series called Clannad and Clannad After Story, which is up there. Very good series from KyoAni. And I mentioned this online and somebody went, "Go watch Toradora. You'll like that." Yeah, okay, whatever. Went out shopping one day and they're in this particular shop that does secondhand DVDs and Blu-rays. It's this series, Toradora. So I grabbed it and I watched it and I thought, they were right.
Wow.
But yeah, you'd enjoy it, actually. It's one of those series you might enjoy.
It sounds like it. It definitely sounds like it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these kids are, as I say, they're 16, 17 years of age. And the things that they get up to, they will have you rolling in the aisles.
Did you know that Nausicaa actually was adapted into a kabuki stage play?
No, I didn't. I did not know that. What I did know about Nausicaä, though, surprisingly, you know the part where you get the big creature feature?
Yes.
In Nausicaa, there was an artist, an anime artist brought in by Miyazaki to do that scene. Miyazaki gave him the outline of what he wanted for that scene.
Oh, okay.
This guy took it, thought, nah, went away, completely redid it, came back in, handed it to Miyazaki. And of course, everybody's giving it bailout time because they thought Miyazaki was going to go ballistic. And Miyazaki said, yeah, do it that way.
Was that, I can pronounce the name correctly, Yoshiki Tanaki?
I can't remember the guy's name, but I do remember that he actually went on to make an anime series called Evangelion.
Okay,
which was an extremely big hit.
Yes, I have seen that one.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize this, but the anime artist that come up with that actually went on to do Evangelion. So Miyazaki Senior is responsible for the anime world having Evangelion and Evangelion Genesis.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, he has actually been the godfather of so many, different works. Even before he ever started, Studio Ghibli, you could see his handiwork in so many different things in different movies.
Yeah. The guy's name, I've just found it, Hidaki Anno.
Oh, okay, I know who you mean. I know.
Yeah. Celebrated creation was the Evangelion franchise.
Right. Because I think he did Giant God Warriors appear over Tokyo as well.
Yeah, he did. He is a animator, filmmaker, actor, producer, and voice actor. It's just some of the stuff that he did or did. He, he wrote all the Neon Genesis Evangelion, and he's the one that redid that particular giant scene in the film.
Okay, well that makes perfect sense then, because the movie that I was, just kind of referencing, was, like I said, was not only directed by him, but it kind of also was kind of based off of Nausicaa as well.
Yeah, he worked on Nausicaä.
Yeah.
He was brought in specifically by Miyazaki to do that one particular scene, and he went, "No, that's not right." Went away, redid it, and stuck it in front of Miyazaki Senior, and everybody thought explosion time, as you would, because
Oh,
Miyazaki being
yeah.
Miyazaki. But he didn't really went, no, he says, that's how to do it that way. And that's why you get when he's firing all those. This guy sat there and worked out every angle and every way of doing it for that giant warrior.
Yeah. You know, looking at the film industry today, and we say film industry, and I say that loosely because everything now, is done on, discards and things like that. It's not actually done on film anymore. And this whole release was actually done on the old 35 millimeter film, and the audio, like I said, was not the greatest, and it was in mono, but even still, it was remarkable for its time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's, as you say, look at the date of release, 84. Think of the
Hmm.
technology back in the 80s,
Early
especially
84,
the early
actually, since
80s.
in March. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all you got to think about is some of these, some of the early game consoles and the sounds you used to get out of them.
Oh, I know.
And here's this man with some of the weird and wonderful sounds you got on this film, but it works. You don't notice them. And
No,
as I said, I think this is held up a hell of a lot better than most people give it credit for.
no, I definitely agree. And it wasn't like, okay, it truly was, I feel, one of the shorter movies. It was only 117 minutes, but it was a very wonderful encapsulating story. And that's why I said I would love to see a part two to this because it's very easy to keep adapting from the mangas, the part two.
Yeah, yeah. But then again, where would you take it?
Starting to clean it up, and some of the factions actually starting to get along.
Yeah, yeah, I suppose.
Because at the end, when we see her fulfilling the prophecy, because she had snucken out of the ship, in the dead princess's outfit, which, as we know, was pink. But when she wound up running into and rescuing the baby gnome, and that was where the whole thing kind of all started to be, is she was so, letting him not move, and the blood was blue. And if you
Mm,
notice an ohm, when they're mellow and calm, their eye shields or whatever they are blue.
yeah,
And with that blood coming out, it started to stain her pink dress into slowly. If you look at the film frames by frame, you can see it starting to slowly change into blue, which is what changed her to blue. But
mm,
then when she made the conscious effort to step into the acid herself to stop the baby gnome from going into the acid, and she hurt herself, that was what made the baby gnome start to realize, okay, this is somebody who's not trying to hurt me. I don't need to be scared. See if I can help her. And that golden trindle, because they have those funky feet that can rip and claw you apart, but then they have that other golden hand that has the healing powers to it.
yeah. That's
You
why
know,
when they got that circle of Om and they
yeah.
lift her up, and
And
the
then
old lady says, "Tell me what's happening," and the two little kids say, "It's the princess, and she's walking on gold." And the
yep,
minute they say that, the old girl says, "What's she wearing?"
right.
And they go, "It looks like blue." The old girl clicks and goes, "There's the
It's a
prophecy."
prophecy.
And she's there. You can see the old girl working it out, and she
Yeah.
tells them, "There's your prophecy."
Now, when did you figure it out?
What, that Nausicaä was the prophecy?
Mm-hmm.
Um, to be honest, when I first saw the film, my very first time of seeing the film, I worked out that Nausicaä had to be the one when she was running around the jungle trying to rescue the pilot.
Yeah, I kind of started to get that feeling about then, but then
That's
when
it's about there when you suddenly if you've been watching the film and you watch that tapestry and you
yeah,
hear the old girl talking and you look at what Nausicaä is up to and what she's doing, you think, hold up, girl. There's your prophecy standing in front of you.
mm-hmm.
The only time you get that called into question is when she has a go at the invaders when they kill the
Oh
father.
yeah, that was pure rage that just
Oh, yeah. Which
yeah.
really, for you don't often get to see that in a Miyazaki film.
No, you don't.
I mean, that
You
was
don't.
just pure rage and hatred in that girl's eyes.
True,
She
and
did not care.
I have something I wanted to ask you because this has been brought to me before. Do you feel that Nausicaa and Princess Mononoke are set in the same world, just different time frames?
Um, I would say there is a possibility. Uh, Nausicaa would be before Mononoke. If it's set in the same world,
Mm-hmm.
Nausicaa would be before Mononoke. I would not say they were in the same time frame. It's a
No,
bit
definitely not in the same time frame. No, no, no.
no. I would say it'd be the best way to say it would be like if Nausicaa was the ancient Romans and the ancient Greeks and you like, then Mononoke would be like the Middle Ages. It'd be that kind of time frame between them.
Which, in a way, makes sense, but in a way also is disappointing because you're starting to see with Mononoke then the swinging back to, not being so great with, the environment and other things like you
Well, yeah,
saw, with the Raging Bull.
yeah, but that's
Okay,
what I'm
what it
saying.
was.
You would have Nausicaa and her people uh, getting into line with nature, mankind slowly regaining their feet, spreading out, becoming tribal again.
Right.
And then, the odd one turning up saying, well, why are we doing this? We don't need to do this. We can do it our way. And forgetting the old ways that
Ways.
Nausicaa and her people taught them. If you think about it, the prince in Mononoke, his tribe is still living
Right.
a little bit like Nausicaa's people,
As was. Yes.
whereas Mononoke is up against Irontown,
Right.
who's gone back to the old ways of
But
taking from the earth and not living with the earth.
the earth. Exactly. And that was kind of my philosophy as well. And when that was first broached to me, I'm like, all of a sudden I saw the correlation. I'm like, wow, I'm surprised I didn't think about that before.
Well, I suppose a lot of people wouldn't put two and two together in that fashion because unless you're really into your history, you wouldn't think that way. Because a lot of people, God forbid from saying this, a lot of people watch these films and although they enjoy them, they still look at them as a cartoon and an individual item.
Right.
Nausicaa is Nausicaa, Mononoke is Mononoke. That's it. Howl's Moving Castle is Howl's Moving Castle. They're all separate films. There's nothing to join them up. It's only if
Which,
you sit and work it out and you think, well, as you say, Nausicaa, part two, where would it go? And then you work out where a part two would go, and then and by the time you get to part three, you're looking roughly at Mononoke.
Mononoke.
So
Yeah.
you can make a correlation, a supposition, if you will, of a timeline where it goes from Nausicaä back, it goes back away and then comes forward again to Mononoke.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And in a way, I almost would hope people would start looking at that in the same aspect that you look at, and here I'm going to use Disney films again as a reference. Disney films, if you look at them, are interconnected.
Oh yeah,
That's been a proven, you know, reference. Tarzan is interconnected, with Frozen, and it's interconnected with so many of the other movies, and you can see that correlation all go through.
mm,
So you just kind of have to have the same open mindedness to look at Miyazaki the same way. And I don't think maybe he intended for it to kind of
yeah,
all be interconnected. It just naturally has become that.
yeah. Well, if you think about it, I mean, in Nausicaä you have flying machines.
Yes.
You don't have flying machines in Mononoke.
Sure.
Why not? Because they have learned that the flying machines are dangerous. So they've got rid of the flying machines. They've forgotten how to do the flying machines. By the time they get to Mononoke, they're trying to relearn old technologies.
Yes.
They've relearned how to make guns by the time they got back to Mononoke. Whereas the Princess tribe, they don't have guns.
Would you almost say that Mononoke would be set 1,000 years after Nausicaa?
Yeah,
So
in that time frame.
if you did time jumps of 1,000 years per,
If you did
the
a time
word,
jump from say Nausicaa to Mononoke, I would say between 500 to 1,000, in that time frame, between 500 and 1,000 years after Nausicaa, you'd probably hit Mononoke. Yeah,
yeah,
it'd have to be about that time frame.
yeah. I think a 500 might be a little too short, but
Depends on the people.
uh,
I mean, if you look at evolution, I mean, you think flying for a start. I
yeah,
mean,
oh, yeah.
uh, what, in the 1800s? How many planes did we have in the 1800s?
Uh,
Zero, zero. But by the 2000s,
they're everywhere.
millions, there are millions of the damn things. We're scrapping them because we've got too many of the damn things. It doesn't take that long for a technology to either be forgotten or rediscovered.
Yeah, we've discovered, and then it's wound up being disastrous for mankind.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's kind of funny that you're talking about all this and the flying machines and other things, and yet Miyazaki's very next film after this was Castle in the Sky, and in a way that is such a collaboration of all different sorts of things, and in itself kind of flies.
yeah. But then
So,
again, if you were to, shall we say, project a timeline, Nausicaa, Mononoke, another 1,000 years, you Castle in the Sky.
mm, yeah,
Or does Castle in the Sky come before Nausicaa?
yeah,
Because don't forget, they've left the planet, they've left the sky, Castle in the Sky to live on Earth because of trouble. So does
true.
Castle in the Sky predate Nausicaa and it's just gone downhill from Castle in the Sky? Or does Castle in the Sky come after Mononoke because we still haven't learned the lesson?
You might very well be right because Castle in the Sky was in reality time frame was set in the mid 60s to early 70s.
Yeah.
Okay, so even if you go back even farther, because that was actually shown in Nausicaa, was the World War II planes. So do we have, following back farther, do we have Grave of the Fireflies and The Wind Rises, with that? And speaking of, did you notice that underneath the dragonflies that were flying, they were painted yellow, which was very similar to what was underneath a lot of the Nazi planes. The painting undercover for that.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
mean, he got it in there, no matter which way that
oh
fight
yeah,
was.
exactly. He put his message across.
Yes, he did.
And that's the magic of Miyazaki. This is, as I say, this is the little acorn from which the mighty oak of Studio Ghibli originates from. It,
Most
it is
definitely.
it is the thing that gives Miyazaki his biggest show. I mean, as you said, that Castaglio film wasn't exactly well received for some
No,
strange reason. I've never been able to find it to even watch it. Have you ever seen it?
I had never heard of it before.
No, I had heard of the anime series about the little Viking. I've actually seen parts of it. I wouldn't actually recommend it. it it does refer to stereotyping a hell of a lot. It's not exactly thrilling,
Mm.
but I suppose for the time that it was done in, it was something. But no, I've not found the film.
Yeah, like I said, I would be very curious to see where and how that all came about. Um, One of the things that kind of surprised me, and I know you're probably going to get into this here in a minute, was the fact that it only had for a budget of 108 million.
Yeah,
And for that time frame of what it was trying to put out, that was a fairly low budget.
it was. It was. The film grossed in yen 1.48 billion, which is at the time $6.23 million. Overseas, it grossed well over a million and a half from theatrical releases, and included, believe it or not, just under a million from France on its own.
Wow. Do you know how much it's pulled in just from rentals as well?
It doesn't actually say that. Box
I,
office. It says here box office admissions. The film sold 914,776 tickets in Japan, up and
wow.
including to 2006,
Yeah.
and 342,235 tickets in Europe.
Yeah. Because I had something similar for the total box office gross was what you were saying. For I can't. My eyes are killing me. The 1,048 billion for gross, but I have just for rentals worldwide 742 million
Wouldn't
just
surprise me.
in rentals.
But you've got a Nausicaä manga and you've got a Nausicaa video games.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've also got different little art books.
Oh yeah. And
So, they're making money off of that.
oh yeah.
And
But you know what I
just
can't believe
noticed
I'm
something.
going to be saying this, and I'm such an immense love of history, as you well know, especially World War II history and on. But this movie actually affected me more, I think, in a lot of ways than Grave of the Fireflies did.
Mm.
Because I see the way, if we're not careful, how we're going to go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can see that coming along. You can actually see now what's happening. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you can see that happening. I've just been reading here. Did you realize that released in 2012, there was a prequel to this film called The Giant God Warrior Appears in Tokyo? It was
Yes.
live action,
Yes.
short film. And there's also, this could be interesting to see, a kabuki play.
Correct. I was talking about that earlier.
Yeah, a kabuki play performed in December 2019.
Yep.
I mean, I know they've done Kabuki. Have actually done Star Wars.
Yes, I
Worked
know they
that one
have.
out. Worked that one out. I mean, that surprises me. But it's just you sit there and you think, really? So
Actually, I can see Kabuki and Star Wars pairing very nicely together if you think about it, break it down to what it really is.
yeah, I have watched two Kabuki plays. Um, and they are long and involved, very long. But it's one of those. Kabuki is a medium where you've got to know what each character is. They help you by the face color and the markings and what
Yes.
they're wearing. But unless you know these things, it'll confuse the hell out of you.
Oh, yes.
And the fact that everybody on stage in a Kabuki play is a bloke,
I know. I know.
including the women.
I know.
Yeah, you think
It
really?
is. It's been that way for centuries. You
Oh, it
know,
was in
and
that. It was it was one of the shoguns. Because it started out actually women doing it, and things being as things were back then, it got a little bit out of hand and raucous. And it was a shogun that turned around and went, "Well, I'm not having this. So women can no longer perform on a kabuki stage," which kind of buggered up a lot of the plays. Understandably, because they've got princesses and queens in there, or
uh,
empresses and and
and
shrine
that's not
maid.
the kind of queen we're talking about, but they certainly had to make it that way.
And then, yeah, exactly. And there are now, can't believe I'm going to say this, there are now families of actors who have made a living out of being kabuki females.
Oh, I believe it, 100%.
Yeah, and some of them, when you look at them on stage, before they open their gob, you think, that's a guy? You just
Uh
wouldn't
huh.
believe it. You would not believe it. I mean, as I said, I've seen a couple of them. And some of these, they're more feminine than women.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you watch a Mako or a geisha doing their thing in a geisha house, and then you see these guys doing exactly the same on a kabuki stage. You can't tell the difference. You stood them side by side and got them to do exactly the same thing, and exactly you cannot tell the bloody difference. But then again, I suppose that's part of the charm of being Asian. You're small and petite. Yeah, inbuilt advantage.
Unless you're a sumo wrestler, there's nothing small and petite about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, mind you, these days sumo wrestlers are not necessarily Japanese.
This is true.
You get Fijians. There's even a Ukrainian.
I have seen many Fijians, and actually, I have seen several Samoans, but I have not seen a Ukrainian.
Yeah, well, the last sumo competition for this month, November, it's just
Hmm.
finished in Japan. The Ukrainian won it. He actually beat a Yokozuna.
Okay.
So they reckon that by this time next year, that Ukrainian will be a Yokozuna himself.
Very
It was
interesting.
it was good. I mean, he literally when he came out the blocks, he just took this opponent of his and he just spun him. He was down and that was it. Game over. He got the Emperor's Cup and he got something else, the Director's Cup and everything.
Wow.
I was watching it. I was watching that this morning. You see, I was watching my sumo this morning on
Ah.
NHK.
Well, I just noticed the time, and we're already at 1:35, and I do have Sunday football coming up. So, and I was not going to really do a recipe today since we do have Turkey Day coming up shortly.
Do we?
Yes, we do. At least for us here in the States, we do.
Oh, yeah, and it's something to do with a turkey and something like that.
Yeah.
Some tribal, some tribal.
Has to do with the little guy I just put on the screen.
Just think, if they knew then what we know now, they would have turned around then and said, "Hey, get back in them boats and bugger off." But they didn't.
But Thanksgiving. I like the turkey wagon better than that one personally.
I like that one.
You like this one?
Yeah, I like that one.
Oh, I could always do that to you.
Hell no. Get it off.
But I think we're sitting here, we're playing a little bit much, and we probably should wrap this up.
Yeah, you probably find most of the audience has bailed out and thought we're not playing with them anymore. They've gone crazy.
If you've been watching this program, we are not normal, and we have never said we were.
Oh, no. I was normal once. Worst 15 seconds of my life, but never mind.
And then somebody slapped you on the bottom and made you just the way you are.
Yeah, actually, you say that. I mean, the nurse that was there at my arrival on the planet turned round to my mother and said, "That little bugger will defy the Pope of Rome." And she was right. I've been like that ever since. The more you tell me, you can't do this, you can't watch that, you can't go there, and I will stand there and go, really? Why not?
Watch me.
Yeah.
That's my attitude is, yeah, really, watch me.
Yeah. I will eventually get round and say, just watch.
Yep.
As used to say in the army, watch my tracer.
Oh, I have to look up to see actually what we are doing next. I had actually forgotten. Let's see. Ah, we're doing Murray.
Doing who? What?
Murray.
Oh, Miri. Hey, that's a weird. That's a good one. Weird but good. You'll enjoy that. Have you seen it before?
No, I haven't. So we need a weird one gearing up to Christmas.
Well, Miri, yeah. What are we doing after Miri?
Sure, you make me look again, wouldn't you, with my cheat sheet? Ponyo. That's why, because I wanted to do Ponyo, because everybody's going to be gathered around family time and yeah.
So yeah, Miri is a bit strange because it involves. I will not spoil it, but time jumps.
You had mentioned that we're going to have some time jumps.
Yeah, but it's a good film. It's you will enjoy it. I certainly enjoyed it when I watched it the first time. It has a few laughs, and there are a few times you'll sit there and go, "What? What?" But overall, you will enjoy.
Good. I would definitely be looking forward to it.
Well, I hope so. Because we've got a whole load of films to go, and then we've got the individual. If we ever get round to doing an individual series, we've got
a lot of them.
We've got a lot that we can leap on.
Oh yeah,
things like Clanad, Angel Beats.
You know you want to do Angel Beats. You mentioned that so much. I know you want to do it.
The reason I want to do Angel Beats is, believe it or not, the same reason that I'll sit and watch Earthsea.
The music.
But unlike Earthsea, Angel Beats and the music works. It goes together. One would not work without the other.
But that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you wrap up because you've got your games to go to.
Well, are you going to be able to watch any today?
I think there's one on, but I can't remember which one it is.
Well, Well, I know there's a few really icky matchups that I'm not exactly too thrilled about, but
Join the
we shall
club.
see.
Join the club. I
We
didn't
shall
exactly
see.
have an auspicious start to the weekend, shall we say. I lost.
None of us did. None of us did. I think the only one that did was Sports Sister, and that's
Was it
Martha. I
Sports
think
System or was it Papa Socks? Did Papa Socks go that
was it
way as
Papa
well?
Socks? I
I think
can't remember. It was one of the two. But yeah,
yeah.
the rest of us crashed and burned.
No, get crushed and burned. That's an understatement. Cool. We crashed, burned, and sunk without trace. Yee.
But on that note, everybody, you guys have Thanksgiving coming up and you're starting to travel, so be safe. Watch out for people who aren't being that safe on the roadways and don't overeat. And we hope to see you back again in 2 weeks. So, bye
Bye
all.
bye, everyone. Have fun now.